Okay, so Israel attacks Iran, finally. Oh, well, okay, let's see what happens. Bezrat Hashem. Yeah, living through.
Why did they do it today?
What?
Why did they do it now?
Why not?
I think it was a sketch that they said they'll wait till Sunday. So
Yeah.
then
Oh yeah, they
not
made it.
really
Yeah, they
100%
made it. They did a double head fake. Donald Trump did a double head fake, fighting with
Hey, 60
Bibi.
days is over. Now he can do whatever he wants.
Right, yeah. But it was like, yeah, they're fighting. Donald Trump told Bibi not to attack. But then they empty out the embassy. But no, it's like they're pretending they're emptying out the embassy just to pretend that they're attacking you. Right, that was like a double head fake. No, but it was like a double. You see that, like a double head fake. I was like really impressed.
Maybe this will push them to negotiate.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, yeah. So they said they're going to wait till Sunday. That on Sunday they're supposed to get a major answer, and we'll see. We have officially launched. Yeah. This is an official news wire. Security official, we have launched Operation Am Kelavi to target Iran's nuclear program and the regime's long-range missile capabilities. Wow. All right. I hope they topple the regime. They just have to topple the regime, bring back the Shah of Iran, and enough of this shtuyot, these fanatic Muslims. I mean, like why? Like there's normal Muslim countries, UAE and a few others, okay, but these people are just fanatics. All right, let's study. So we're at Pirqe Hamishi. You have the place? Do I need to give you the page number? I will give you the page number. Chapter 5 of Pirqe Abot. And I think next week, we should continue during the summer. Does everybody agree? Yeah, why not?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
They sleep on Monday nights?
Yeah.
They sleep on
yeah, Monday nights, everybody's here, exactly. So I
Okay.
agree. Let's just do Monday nights. Let's do the thing. So we're page 42 actually. Page 42. So now, before we even continue, but maybe we should switch. Maybe we should switch topics. Somebody wanted. I think Joy Shahova said he wanted to do like Jewish civil, like monetary law, like damages, dinah mamonot, that type of thing. It's a little more challenging, but I think you think you guys are up to it.
Think about it. Let's think about it.
That's what he told me. Like he keeps pushing for that. So.
All right, let's see.
All right.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Maybe.
ברוך אתה אדוני,
Baruch Shemo.
אלוהינו מלך העולם, שבונה בלברו.
Right.
All right, so let's read. בעשרה מאמרות נברא העולם. This is actually the last chapter of Pirqe Abot. If you look at your book, you're going to see up chapter 6. The chapter 6 of Pirqe Abot was not originally part of the Pirqe Abot. Actually, do you have it here? I wonder if they put it. Yeah, they have chapter 6. Okay. So chapter 6 was not originally part of Pirqe Abot. It was external baraitot that were added later on. I'm not that they're not important or not worthy of study. They are both important and worthy of study, chapter 6. But I'm just pointing out that the original Pirqe Abot, I have here the Nosach Rambam. Let me just confirm before I say it. Yeah, exactly. It has 5 chapters. Exactly. Okay, so let's do this. The world was created with God's speech. Ma'amar means a speech, a spoken word. How many? 10. Exactly 10 words. Where do you see the words? So throughout the story of Genesis, you see the word Vayomer Elohim. God spoke. So God's speech is his creation. What does that mean? Let me explain to you. So first of all, the purpose of this Mishnah is to get into the question, why 10 speeches? Why not one speech? We'll put that on the side for a second. But I want to ask you a question. When we say that God created the world with 10 ma'amarot, what exactly does that mean? So I'll give you 2 options, 2 ways to think about it. The pasuk says, Vayomer Elohim yehi or. Okay. God spoke the words, let there be light. And what happened? Vahi or, and there was light. Okay. So my question is as follows. How does that happen? Meaning, is it that God said, whoever he spoke to, I'm not sure who he spoke to because God was alone. Okay, but fine, he spoke. He spoke the words, let there be light, and then there was light. Is that what happened? Is that the way you understand it? I mean, that's the way, like in the Bible movies, Cecil B. DeMille's 10 Commandments, I think that's the way it starts. Right at the beginning, God created heaven and earth, right? And then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light, right? That's like a famous Hollywood line. But it's not exactly. It doesn't capture the essence of what took place. So I want to explain to you what it means. How does God say, "Let there be light"? How does he even say that? Who is he speaking with? Those words. There's nobody listening. He's alone, right? God is the infinite being who exists alone until he starts creating other creations. Even the malachim. The malachim are created by God. They don't just exist. So I want to tell you the deeper meaning of "let there be light." What language did God speak "let there be light" in? How do we start with that?
Hebrew.
Hebrew, interesting. Okay. Aramaic. Ashurid. Aramaic. Assyrian. Right? So here's the language. You know how God said, "Let there be light"?
Think.
What?
It's not, I don't know.
I mean, of course, he doesn't speak. He doesn't have vocal cords, right? There's no sound waves, right? So what does it mean? I want to explain to you. You know how what language God speaks to "let there be light" in? By creating light. By creating light. The creation of light is God saying, "Let there be light." It's not that there's two steps, meaning God says, like a magician, abracadabra, hocus pocus, and boom, a rabbit appears out of the hat. That's not what this is saying. God decides that he wants it to be light. And he creates the light. And the creation of the light is Vayomer Elohim Yehi Or. That is the speech. How do I know that? Because there's a pasuk that says, Bidvar Adonai Shamayim Na'asu. Right? Don't we say this every Shabbat morning? In the tefillah. How do we start the tefillah? After korbanot. Bidvar Adonai Shamayim Na'asu U'buruach Piv Kol Seva'am. The creation, Shamayim Na'asu, the creation of the heavens is the speech of God. You understand? Through the speech of God, the heavens were created. I mean, the heavens, the creation of the heavens is the actual speech. Right? It's very deep. And it makes sense, because who would he speak to? Right? Who is he speaking to?
It's not royalty.
Right. What do you mean it's not royalty? I don't see.
Meaning just attributed to him just...
No problem, but the point is, so you're saying the same thing as me. So then what does it mean, Vayomer Elohim Yehi Or?
Just
The creation of the light.
So 10 utterances are just the 10 actions or the 10...
Well, you would see, if you look at the story of creation, Vayomer Elohim Yehi Or. That's one. Then it says, Vayomer Elohim Yehi Rakia. That's the second one. So he creates space. So space didn't exist. There was no space. Okay, so how does God say, "Let there be Rakia"? By creating space. That's the speech of God. When you see the sun rising in the morning,
start talking to us.
and you're there watching the sunrise, that's God talking to you. At that moment, God is like, "Here, Jeffrey, isn't this beautiful?" That's how God speaks to us. So the creations of the workings of the cosmos, the creation of the cosmos, and then the workings of the cosmos, all these things are the speech of God. So God, this constant speech of God.
So the Goyim would say Mother Nature.
I mean, right, because they don't believe in God. So because when they say Mother Nature, there's an idea of pantheism. The idea of pantheism is that the world is God. They call it Mother Nature. And I want to explain to you that for us, for the Jews, nothing can be further from the truth. The world is not God. I will prove it to you right now. I'm going to say a word, and I want you to tell me what happened to that word. You ready? Green.
I saw the color green.
You saw the color green. And where is the word now?
Oh, they used it for,
It's gone.
a clean environment.
No problem. Where is it? Where's the word? I just spoke the word. I'll speak it again. I'm not going to speak it again. There was a word that I spoke. That word, where is it? It's gone. It had an ephemeral existence. So what is the relationship between me and the words that I speak? Which existence is a higher level of existence, me or my words?
You.
Of course, the words are just like it's a sound wave. It travels through the air. Maybe somebody will catch it. Maybe nobody will catch it. And then it eventually disappears. Right? So the sound, the relation between me and my words is one of, I have a permanent existence. The words will exist for a split second, and then they're gone. And I'm here, thank God, with God's grace. We're here. Okay. Now you understand the relationship between God and the universe. Right? Now you understand the existence of God. Oh, the universe is unbelievable. It's crazy. It is, by the way. But like, as great and as awesome as the universe is, and yet it's like this word spoken by a person relative to the speaker is a relationship of world relative to God. It gives you a sense, just before I want to hear your question, but it gives you a sense of the unbelievable, I don't even like to use the word nature of God's existence, but the supremacy of God's existence over our existence. We're not on the same level. Right? We're really relative to God. We're nothing. We're God. And there's a pasuk in Kohelet, and it says as follows: Havel havalim amar Kohelet. Havel havalim akol havel. Everything in this world is completely ephemeral. What are you talking about, Omer? I see the world. It's not ephemeral. It's here. Compared to itself, it seems to have its own existence. Compared to God, the speaker, this world is like nothing. It's impressive to us, but that's because we don't realize Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. How Kadosh God is, how high He is. I'm sorry.
I was going to just say that we also believe that God could make this world disappear in a second the same way He created it with a few utterances, right?
Of course. He could be Mahariv the world. And many times He doesn't like what's happening in the world, and He brings the Mabul. Although the Mabul is just the planet Earth, right? You understand? Like the planet Earth is not even a speck of dust in the ocean. But you know how long it takes? So light goes 186,000 miles per second. I believe at that speed it would, and I could be off, it encircles the Earth something like 6 or 7 or 8 times in 1 second, a ray of light. That's pretty fast. Okay. Now and I'm probably off a little on this, but let's say if you were to ray of light towards the sun, it would take about 8 to 9 minutes, or maybe 10 minutes, I don't remember exactly, for the ray of light to reach from here. So when you see the sun in the sky, you're actually watching the sun 10 minutes ago. If suddenly the sun would disappear, you wouldn't find out for 10 minutes. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
All right, now, if you had like a ray of light traveling across the galaxy, which we exist in, the Milky Way galaxy, do you know how long it would take the ray of light to get across the galaxy?
It's still going.
It's still going, but how long would it take? 200,000 years. So just to give you a sense of the immensity, it's nuts, right? But the closest galaxy, Andromeda Galaxy, closest galaxy to the Milky Way is the Andromeda Galaxy. You know how long it would take it? And this is the closest galaxy, right? Meaning this is like nothing. Like this, if you look at the size of the universe, like Milky Way, Andromeda, like nothing. That's like just like zero. You know how long it would take a ray of light to get from the Milky Way galaxy to the Andromeda Galaxy? 2 million years. Right, just to give again.
Ways to go.
What?
I said we have ways to go.
We have ways to go. Our TV shows didn't reach any living creatures in Andromeda. They still didn't see the any of our TV shows, right, or any of our radio transmissions.
Seriously.
I mean, if there was life in other, All right, so you got the sense of the immensity of the world, and as immense as the world is, it's a ma'ama for God. It's an ephemeral existence. It exists. What?
Even, right, what you're saying is even the physical world and universe is it's
Yeah, that's what Shlomo HaMelech says. Shlomo HaMelech was so brilliant that he realized, you think this universe is unbelievable. Actually, Havel Habalim, Hakol Havel. You understand?
right
That's
from
Shlomo.
the perspective of Hashem. That's what he's thinking.
Yeah.
That's what he's thinking.
Yeah. Okay? So that's, yeah.
Good.
Okay, so be'asara ma'amarot dibra ha'olam. So I want you to understand that it was 10 speeches. Actually, if you count the number of times it says Vayomer Elohim, it's 9. It's not 10. Okay? So now I'm going to read to you Harambam, and he addresses that question. Im titbonen b'chol ma shene'emar b'maaseh bereshit. If you review the story of creation in the first book, in the first chapter of Genesis, Vayomer, you count the number of times the word Vayomer appears. It's 9 times. Ubereshit ha'asiri. The word Bereshit is the ultimate ma'amar, meaning bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz. That's the first speech of God. And what does that mean? So you have like two systems. Like let's say I want to make a painting, so I'm going to buy a canvas, and I'm going to buy some paints, and I'll buy an art easel, and maybe I'll buy a few paint brushes, right? And now that I have all these instrumentalities, I can paint a picture. I can't paint, by the way. I have the artistic skills of a 5-year-old. We have a very nice frame in my house, a beautiful frame. Like my wife made this beautiful frame out of clay, very colorful, very nice. And I put it in my artwork. It's a stick figure, pencil up there, just as a joke. And I call it the boy man, something like that. So it's just like a joke. You go into my house, you'll see it there. Some people look at it probably, wow, what is that? That's like no, it's me, a stick figure. I drew a stick figure, okay. I used to see the museums of modern art, like a dot on a canvas. So I decided to do a stick figure. That was like my contribution to modern art. So yeah. But to do art, you need the art easel, you need the paintbrush, you need the colors, you need the canvas. Okay, very good. And you select everything very carefully, and then you can do a painting. That's the world after bara Elohim et hashamayim et haaretz. Bara Elohim et hashamayim et haaretz means God put in place the paintbrushes. God put in place the art easel. God put in place the canvas. God actually put in place the rules, whatever they are, physics, chemistry, biology, theory of relativity, quantum mechanics. All the rules are in bara Elohim et hashamayim et haaretz. That's the ultimate ma'amad. Yeah, meaning once you have the paintbrush and you have the colors and you have the canvas and you have the art easel, okay, start painting. Okay, but you're limited by what you just did. You just limited yourself because you chose a particular type of canvas, and so on and so on and so on, right? So the first and the greatest ma'amad is bara Elohim et hashamayim et haaretz. Before that, there was nothing. It was it wasn't even empty. There wasn't emptiness. There was ayin. Ayin means there was nothingness. Do you understand the difference between emptiness and nothingness? That's what there was. It was nothingness. It wasn't empty. Empty means that there's some geometry. There was no geometry. There was no space. You couldn't exist because there was no existence, right? But then bara Elohim et hashamayim et haaretz, he creates the shamayim and the ares, and then within the shamayim and the ares, he brings the various designs that he designs as a result of that initial choice of shamayim and ares. So that's the first ma'amad. That's the first one. And then vayomer, 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 and 9 times, total of 10. Why 10? So why 10? Okay, so there's different mathematical systems. For example, for computers, for computer coding, what type of mathematics do you use? Does anybody know? You use a binary system. It's just two numbers, 0, 1. Those are the only 2 numbers in that mathematical system. So 0, 1, and then obviously crazy number of combinations of 0, 1s. Okay, so and they have different types of numerical systems. So what we use is called the digital numerical system, which is based upon there being 10 digits. Okay, it happens to be that to understand the physical laws of the universe, you can't use a binary system, you can't use a tertiary system, etc., etc. You know what system allows you to create a mathematical formula through which you can decode the laws of the universe? The digital system. You got it? The number 10 is essential. So like there's all these secrets. Yeah, there's like I used to study with my father, the Kabbalah of Harambam and Chachmei Andalusia, and so there's like a lot to say about this, and you can tell I'm kind of like scratching the surface. And so this is one of the great points: is it's 10, it's not 9, it's not 8. It could have been a different number, but 10 was chosen specifically. All right, Uma tilmod lomar. What is the lesson here? That God decided to create the world in these different stages. God could have created the entire world in one speech. He doesn't have a problem creating, right? So, but he chose to do it in 10 stages. Why? Ella lihipara min harsha'im shehen me'abedin et ha'olam. This was for the purpose of punishing the wicked, because the wicked, they bring destruction to the world. And the world was created with 10 speeches. So because the world was created with 10 speeches, the wicked, when they bring destruction, they will be punished more severely than had the world been created with one speech. So I'll explain this again. Let's go back to the art easel. So you have this art easel, and these crazy environmentalists. They're the ones who go to the museums and they throw paint on the paintings. So they're becoming more and more Majnun all the time. I think one of the things that's driving them crazy is the fact that it's already close to 25 years. They've been talking about the world is ending, the world is ending. 6 years, the world is ending, it's ending, it's ending, it's ending. Whatever, okay. We're not underwater, but okay, so it drives them crazy. Like, what do they do? So now they support Hamas terrorists. All right, I guess, whatever. So they go to these museums and they start throwing paint on to destroy beautiful artworks. So let me give it to you this way. Imagine there's a painter and he made this artwork, and all he did was he did a single line across the painting. And now this Majnun left-wing loony comes, maybe Greta Thunberg, right? She almost saved the Gaza Strip. Our boat almost made it. Surprisingly, the Israelis intercepted the boat. Had she made it, there would have been no more famine in the Gaza Strip. It's really quite a shame that she never did make it. But okay, no problem. So now she comes in and she destroys this painting. I just did one line across the canvas. You'd be, okay, listen, can you stop with the Majnun? Like, just enough. Okay, but you wouldn't be so upset about the painting because it was like really an easy painting to make. I could take another canvas, do another line across, and if you destroy that one, I'll keep doing it. So now, on the other hand, if I sat down, for hours and days, and there was all these intricate steps and details, and then some Majnun comes and they destroy the painting, you're like, oh my gosh, what did you just do? They recently, there was actually I think they destroyed a Van Gogh or something in some museum. I don't remember what it was, but it was like a priceless work of art that who knows how long it took to make. And that's very upsetting because you're not going to replace it. So that's the idea here. The idea here is God created this world. Had he created it in one step, and then comes this Majnun guy and he throws paint and he ruins the world, and you say, okay, whatever, so one ma'amar, not a big deal. But because God created the world with so many steps, he did it on purpose to tell this Rasha, you're ruining my artwork. I created the world in 7 days, I created it with 10 ma'amarot, and you're going to come in and you're going to ruin everything, right? So you're going to be punished for what you did, right? We're going to put you in jail for whatever number of years. I think if I was Israel, I would have let Greta go to Gaza. I just would not have let her leave Gaza. But okay, again, just another story. Yeah, that would have ended it really nicely. But anyway, getting back to the idea here. So that's the idea of punishing the wicked. On the other hand, to give a nice reward to the pious, because the pious, by doing good acts, they sustain the world. And when they sustain the world, they sustain a world that was created with tremendous complexity. So it's both sides. The person who protects the painting, that person will get his reward, that's a sabdiq. The person who destroys the painting, that person will get his punishment. And the punishment and the reward is commensurate with the number of ma'amarot through which the world was created. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, you got something? I wanted to ask a question. Do the Rashaim really ruin the world? I mean, according to this, they say, yeah. It says, Lipara min harsha'im, lehipara min harsha'im, we want to punish the evil. Shehem me'abedin et ha'olam, they destroy the world. But how do they destroy the world? What does it mean to destroy the world? You understand my question?
They influence.
They influence it. Go ahead, explain.
They influence people the wrong way.
They influence people the wrong way, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that, but it's a nice point. Yeah, they bring they bring certain evil into the world, and people might have been good, but now instead of being good, maybe they'll end up choosing evil because of the influence of that individual.
Strength in numbers. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a lot more of them than Sadiqim or Hasidim, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. I want to give it to you from a slightly different perspective. So it's as follows.
There's no Girsah that says Shema'abedim.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, you want to say?
Shema'abedim min ha'olam. They themselves are called, they get lost.
No, but it says Shehen me'abedin et ha'olam. Oh, what do you have here?
Asher ma'abedim et ha'olam.
Yeah, it says Shehen me'abedin et ha'olam, not min ha'olam.
Right, but there's no shot there.
Oh, no.
You can't change it.
No, Shehen me'abedin et ha'olam, that's a peshat. That they bring destruction to the world. Well, first of all, we know that when we had the generation of Noach, a deluge, we know that yes, they do bring destruction to the world. Meaning, when there is evil in the world, God punishes the world by having the systems that normally bring blessing to the world instead they bring curse to the world. So there's a rain, storms, and usually the rain is brings water and irrigates the soil so the plants can grow. And now suddenly the same rain now is going to destroy humanity. So you have the mabul. So literally, it's a literal truth that when people perform evil in the world becomes a less pleasant place, and you have less pleasant events taking place. It happened in Dor Amabul, and it happened in Kiryat Shema, where the Kiryat Shema says, if you revert to idolatry, if you do that, God will get angry at you, and the sky will stop, and then there will be famine. So it says that's right in the Kiryat Shema. So it says in the Kiryat Shema that the wicked, they destroy the world. Now, in the days of Eliyahu Hanavi, they actually did what the Kiryat Shema said don't do, and there was a horrible famine. There was no rain for years, and there was starvation. There was mass starvation. So yes, so literally, the Reshaim destroy the world. And as you point out, one Rasha can influence another one, and suddenly there's a mass of people who are Reshaim, and they bring destruction to the world. So correct, right? Literal destruction. But there's something else, and I'm going to share it with you. It's an idea that I thought of. So we said that the world was created with the speech of God. So when, let's say one of you decides to put words together, and you create something. What would you call that? Something created with words? A sentence, right? And if you have a lot of sentences, and let's think this is God, so it's like a very diverse world, and it's like an infinite world. So if you put a sentence to a sentence to a sentence, you have a paragraph and a page, and eventually, what do you have?
Essay, book.
An essay, a book. And indeed, when Moshe Rabbeinu was speaking to God, and God says, I don't like what the Jewish people did with Egel HaZahav. It really is upsetting. How about I'm going to make a great nation from you, Moses. And that's it. Let's just forget about the rest of the Jewish people. You'll be like the new Avraham Avinu, right? All your descendants will be the new Jewish nation. So Moshe Rabbeinu objects. And he says, I want you to blot out my name from your book. So you see, God creates the world with words. These words are God's book. So God has a story. So the Tanakh is part of the story. So actually the Tanakh is the story, the transformation of the actions into words. So now we can read this book, because we can't read the book of God at the level of the universe. That the Malachim can do. So when the Malachim read the words of God, they can look at the universe and they read the universe, okay? And some of the Kabbalah, Maaseh Bereshit, has to do with reading the universe. So God gave us the Torah, so He transformed it into human language. So now we can read the universe by reading the Tanakh, okay? So that's a story. Now, do you see why the wicked ruin the story? I think it's a beautiful story. The story should have been Adam and Chava in Gan Eden. Everything is great. They have children. There's no wars. It's beautiful. Humanity prospers, becomes wiser and better and more intelligent with the passage of time. You see what a beautiful story that would have been? But that's not the story at all. The story is like, destruction. Cain kills Hevel. He murders him. And then eventually Cain goes into exile. And, everything that happens, humanity reverses Avodah Zarah. So God is like looking at his story. I had this amazing story. I had this great plot, beautiful story, and you guys ruin everything. Suddenly I have a chapter. Dor HaMabul, okay, next chapter. Dora Palaga, the Tower of Babel. Okay, Paro kidnaps Sarah because he wants to take her as a wife, even though she wasn't particularly interested in him. He was interested in her. Like, next story and next story and next story. Like God is saying, like, this is my book, and you're ruining my book. And I put a lot of words into this book, and you, Mr. Rasha, you're turning this beautiful story into a terrible story. Do you see how the Rasha ruins the world of God? Because the world of God is God's book. It's a story, and you just ruined it, right? So that's a bedimat ha'olam. So I just want to share that.
Talking about the Torah, the stories in Tanakh or the Torah, where the Reshaim ruin the story, so to speak. Is that what you're saying too?
Yeah, meaning the bedimat ha'olam. Yeah, they literally, right. Could have been a beautiful world, could have been a beautiful
Story in a book, etc.
Yeah, but then you see things like why do the wicked prosper, and that could also influence people the wrong way. It's like, oh, look at all these people doing bad things, and they're living a great life.
Yeah.
Why can't I do that too?
Yes. Why do the Reshaim prosper? And that's one of the questions that Yov deals with. He looks at it from the other perspective, and he says, why do the Tzaddikim suffer, right? And the Gemara deals with the question of Rasha v'tovlo. Rasha v'tovlo means that you have these Reshaim who they're doing great. Everything seems to be great, right? So that has to do with the question of Sachar va'onesh. I'll just tell you what it says at the end of Pirashat Va'etchanan. So the end of Pirashat Va'etchanan, it deals with a certain aspect of the question you asked. I can't answer every instance, but I can give you a general answer. For example, I can't answer why 6 million people were killed in the Holocaust. I can't do that, right? I won't do that. It'll be disrespectful to them. And who am I to even, right? That's between God and what God does, and every person has a story and a situation, and that's God's judgment. But the pasuk says at the end of Perashat Va'etchanan, Shalem lesoneo el panav leha'avido. It means as follows: God prefers to reward the evil people in this world because even an evil person did something good, right? It's hard to think of a person who never did anything good. Maybe, the Third Reich, maybe he once helped an old lady cross the street, who knows? I mean, maybe he did something good, I don't know, he might have. I'm not a fan, don't get me wrong, right? but maybe at some point, I don't know, he did something for someone,
We learned about Nebuchadnezzar in the Gemara, right? Where he took the 3 steps.
Yes, that's a great example, by the way, beautiful example. Nebuchadnezzar showing the proper respect, right? So the idea is that God doesn't want these evil people to be in Olam Haba. So he gives shalem lesoneo. He gives the reward to these people who hate God. El panav lehavido. El panav means now, in his presence in this world. The goal being lehavido, so that when he dies, it's over. There's nothing left. He doesn't want him to go to Olam Haba, right? And sometimes the other way around. Sometimes you have a Sadiq. There's no Sadiq who didn't do any Avon. And Sadiq ba'aretz asher ya'aseh rak tov v'lo yahada. Kohelet teso, right? And Adam tov ba'aretz. There's no such thing as a person who never did Avera. Even Moshe Rabbeinu made that one mistake, Chazit, where he hit the stone instead of speak to the stone. He hit the stone. Okay? So there's no such thing as a perfect individual. So sometimes you have Sadiqim in this world suffering. But that's the flip side. God is saying, I want this city to go straight to Olam Haba.
Go through the suffering now and then.
Exactly. There was I recently posted a video where I was talking about Mickey Carey and Yaakov Aram. They were in the Havara Kadisha years ago in the 70s. Yaakov Aram was really a Sadiq Yesod Olam, and he suffered towards his death. He suffered, and Mickey was very upset. And there was once a conversation between Mickey and Yaakov Arama, and because I heard Mickey tell me this is my father, so Alehem Shalom, all of them Alehem Shalom. So Mickey told my father, he was speaking to Yaakov Arama, he's suffering, he's in pain, how horrible. And then he told my father, I asked Yaakov Arama, why is God doing this to you? He was upset. And Yaakov Arama answered Mickey, and I thought it was a very profound answer. This is between me and God, right? This is between me and God. You butt out, meaning butt out. This is a conversation between us. It has nothing to do with you. I thought it's a great answer. Whatever it is, Now Yaakov Aram, maybe I don't know what once when they were young, I don't know whatever, didn't do my mahari. I don't know what money or that. It's not my business. It's not even my business. Even to say maybe once he didn't do my mahari, not my business. But the point is, God is having his conversation and wanted to be Akiva suffer when he died. But eventually, we know that Akiva suffered a lot. When he died, he was tortured to death, but he went straight to Olam Haba at the highest level. So sometimes it's a process where in the Olam Hazeh, God cleans out the Sadiq, so that he goes, shoots right up to Olam Haba. That's it. No Gehinnom, no nothing, right? Straight up there. So that's part of the answer to that question. So we have this beautiful story. The story has Sadiqim, the story has Rishayim. The story creates a lot of confusion. And listen, it wouldn't be a good story if everything was right. If Jack and Jill went up the hill, right, it just wouldn't be so interesting. Nobody would want to read it. But when you have a Sadiq like Rabbi Akiva suffering, and then you have a Rasha like Nebuchadnezzar, he builds this unbelievable city, and he's standing there on the terrace, and he says, "This is Babylonia, which I built." And he's filled with arrogance, right? Next day he goes crazy. That's the story, but you understand. So this is part of the Bible. That's what makes it so interesting. It's precisely that because you have Rishayim destroying the world, God wanted the Rishayim to have the ability to destroy the world. That was his original plot. And God wanted Tzaddikim to build the world. That was the original plot. It's not a tragedy. Oh my gosh, like poor God. No. God is doing just well. This is the story he wanted. He wanted the characters in his story to be free, to really create these horrible episodes and create these uplifting, spiritually inspirational stories. You hear unbelievable stories. I once saw this video where there was a guy. He was in a room filled with people. He was an old man, and it's turned out that old man, when he was in Nazi Germany, he saved a lot of children. I don't know the full story, but he saved a lot of children, and he didn't know what's happening. But it turned out that all the people in that auditorium were either the people he originally saved, or the children or the grandchildren of the people he originally saved. And everybody was there standing up. It's like, what a crazy, unbelievable, inspirational story. This guy has no idea what's happening. He knows that years ago he did what he had to do. It's now the 1990s, 40 years or 50 years after whatever, World War II. And he's in this room with people, and who knows over the last 40, 50 years what he went through. I know that Oscar Schindler did not have an easy life, right? He did not have an easy life, but there comes a point where you suddenly enter that auditorium, and everybody is there, all the people you saved, right? And all their children and grandchildren and so on.
Yeah, I saw that clip. It was great.
What?
It was great. It was like...
You saw it, right?
Anybody
Gave him another 20 years of life.
Yeah.
He was in the front row, and then anybody that was affected by him, then slowly people, that you saved, and everybody starts slowly standing up. And it was like 300 people or something like that.
Yeah.
And he turned around crying.
Yeah, so really beautiful, unbelievable. This world is unbelievable. So what I'm saying is that when it says, that was the plan. The plan was to have that snake, and the plan was, don't say yes to the snake. But okay, if you choose to say yes to the snake, things will get messed up, and then get really messed up, and then really, really messed up. And like, how do we get out of this? Eventually, it'll all turn out like any great story. Like when you watch a movie, and like it seems like, how are they going to do this? Like, what are they going to do? Like, how's the story going to turn out, right? And the author has a way of making the story turn out. Somehow, something happened. That's the world, right? How did the Jewish people survive the Holocaust and everything else? It's like ridiculous. And now here we are attacking Iran, and the whole world is going to watch in awe as God does miracles for Am Yisrael. But why are people so excited every time Israel attacks Iran? Like this euphoria on one side and complete mad hatred on the other side. Why? Anytime there's a war with Israel, because people know it's the hand of God. It's like unbelievable. There are those who hate God, so they go crazy. There are those who love God. They're like, wow, look at this. The children of Abraham, right? God's miracle, right? It's like it's amazing.
Yeah, when they tried to attack that time and everything was intercepted, right?
Yeah.
Iran, how long ago was that? 2 years ago?
About a year, something, I don't know, 2 years, something, a year and a half. Yeah, I remember that. That was crazy. Iran has to go down in the history of warfare. I think it was the first country in the history of warfare that lobbed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of missiles at a country, and not a single one hit. Like, it was a great accomplishment. I don't know if they did that. Right? It really was. It was crazy. It's like, you remember all those missiles coming? Because again, not one of them hit. All right, whatever. No, there was one that hit somewhere in the desert. I don't know, whatever. Okay. So yeah, exciting stuff. And let's. So tell me next week what you want. You're going to continue this,
we got time.
or you want to do Dinem Amonot? All right.
All
All right. It's Gula Yimsu.
Very good.
Thank you, Rabbi.